The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, set in World War II, is a story seen through the innocent eyes of Bruno, the 8-year-old son of the commandant at a concentration camp, whose forbidden friendship with a Jewish boy on the other side of the camp fence has startling and unexpected consequences. So, I'm going to take some minutes to talk about the book, and then I'm going to take some other minutes to talk about the movie. So, the first half of this review will be a review of the book, and then the second half of this video will talk about the movie. So, let's talk about the book. I had to read it for my language arts class in 8th grade, and I've wanted to read the book for a while because I thought it was an interesting story about this, kid who, during World War II, becomes friends with a Jewish boy in a concentration camp on the fence. But I never really got to read it. However, I was excited to finally be able to read it when I could. And I have to say, I very much enjoyed the Boy in the Striped Pajamas book. I thought the book was very good. I thought that Bruno was a very kind of interesting kind of character. You definitely kind of felt bad for him because he had to move away from his home and his friends. During World War II, he's very confused. He doesn't know what's going on. And it doesn't kind of feel like Bruno, you don't really know what's going on, and Bruno doesn't really know what's going on either. I don't really think he knows what World War II is. He doesn't really, and eventually he comes across this boy his age, his same birthday, across the fence, named Shmuel, and he becomes friends with him. He doesn't really know who Shmuel is, and he doesn't know why he wears striped pajamas and all the other people wear striped pajamas. He doesn't know why there's so many people across the fence. He doesn't really know what's going on. And if you know about World War II, you know what happened in the concentration camps. And the majority of the book is things starting to happen to Bruno. He starts to the book goes over a course of a year, and the book goes over, Bruno and his new kind of house, and his friendship with Shmuel, and how he kind of starts to grow up a little bit throughout a year, but not that much. He still, by the end, is like a curious, kind of adventurous, naive boy, and that all kind of happens until the end, and the end is very well, I can't really say what happens without spoilers, so I'm not really gonna I'm gonna try not to say about spoilers, but I feel like the ending is one of the reasons the book and the movie are so famous, because the ending is very kind of powerful, and the whole book and movie is a very kind of powerful story about World War II, and the experiences that the Jewish people in the concentration camps had to go through, and how this kid Bruno, he doesn't really know what's going on. His dad is the commandant of a concentration camp, and he's in charge, and basically Bruno wants answers, but he just doesn't know what's going on. And Shmuel, he has to be in these camps, and he kind of knows what happens, but he doesn't really say what. Shmuel is a very mature character, and Bruno is very kind of childish, naive, and curious. And I think Shmuel has kind of grown darker from the concentration camp. He's kind of lost his sense of childhood in him. He's more of a mature kind of person, and I guess he wants to keep Bruno's childness into him, I guess. That's what I think. And the book is definitely very kind of a little confusing because everything in the book kind of happens really fast. I mean, the thing about the book is that it almost goes from one scene to the next. Like, the book kind of skips ahead a lot. Like, all of a sudden, something will happen, and it'll say a few months later. And it was kind of weird how that happened in the book, and it goes throughout the course of, I believe, a year and a half. So I guess he starts off 9. Wait, yeah, he starts off 9, but then he kind of goes 10. And in the movie, he's well, let's not talk about the movie yet. So I guess by the beginning, he's a kind of 9-year-old kid, and by the end, he's 10, and he is a little bit more mature by then, but not by much. I mean, he definitely starts to get to know Shmuel a bit more, and Shmuel and Bruno definitely become more kind of friends, and they get to, and there is obviously the ending, and I'm not really going to talk about the ending because you have to read it for yourself. I think you should read the book and then see the movie. So yeah, overall I thought the Boy Inside Pajamas book was a very good, interesting book. I thought Bruno and Shmuel were both delightful characters, and you did feel sympathy for Bruno and Shmuel because Bruno was like kind of from his familiar world into this weird world. He doesn't really know what's going on, and Shmuel has to be in these concentration camps, and you have to feel bad for him because he has to go through that. And then there's what happens at the end. So the book kind of makes you feel kind of sad. Like, it definitely kind of leaves you with a dark feeling, and I mean, but I feel like it kind of tells you what things were like in World War II, and what it was like in the concentration camps, and how kids like Bruno must have felt about them. I mean, this is fictional, it's not a real story, but it kind of sets the stage for what things must have been like for kids like Bruno and Shmuel during World War II. So that was the book. I think it's a good book. And now I'm going to spend some minutes talking about the movie. So overall, The Boy Inside Pajamas is a very good book. And now let's talk about the movie. Okay, that's the poster for the movie. On the left, not behind the fence, is Bruno, and then there's Shmuel. So I was very interested in seeing the Boy Inside Pajamas movie because I thought the book definitely felt kind of weird. It's like everything kind of happened really fast. You didn't really get to know what things were like in the book. I mean, you kind of feel confused, but by kind of Bruno. So I was interested to see how the Boy Inside Pajamas story would be portrayed in a real world kind of scenario. And I have to say, I did enjoy the Boy Inside Pajamas. I mean, it kind of feels exactly like the book. I mean, it's almost like it's not like a perfect, there are some things that the book has that the movie doesn't, but overall, I think that the movie was actually probably one of the most close to the book movies I've ever seen, and the book is actually rather short. I mean, there are some differences, but, the movie keeps the same kind of feel as the book. The book is, it's very quick, and it happens so fast. Everything in the book happens really fast, and everything in the movie happens really fast. It has that same kind of the movie has the same kind of feel to the book as it does. So I feel like the Boy Inside Pajamas movie did a really kind of good job. I feel like the movie was just as good as the book, the book, I feel like this is supposed to feel kind of goes really fast, and it just kind of happens, if you know what I mean. And the Boy Inside Pajamas movie goes by really quick, but I think it's kind of supposed to, if you know what I mean. I mean, this kind of movie, like one of those kind of powerful movies, I mean, usually movies like this are like 2.5 hours long, but this movie is only 94 minutes, so it kind of does, you know, feel kind of quick, but it's supposed to, so I have to say that they did a really good job with this movie, keeping the same kind of feeling as, book did. And the book had some, like, unanswered questions, where it's like something happens and it cuts to it, but you don't really know what exactly happens. Like, all of a sudden, you know something happens, but you don't know, like, how and what happened next, but the movie answers that, like the scene with the butler, you know, and when I have dinner with Lieutenant Cutler. I'm not going to say that, but you know what I mean. It is, you know, in the book, you don't really understand what happens, but the movie kind of shows what happens, because it's a director's and writer's job to kind of write what happens, you know what I mean? And I think they did a very good job kind of taking the book, this kind of weird, quick book that happens really fast and is weird and kind of, it's just a quick story, and they definitely portrayed it into a movie really well. I mean, I can understand someone not liking it because the whole book is kind of undeveloped, but it's like it happens, you know what I mean? It's like you're reading, and it's a very quick read, and the movie is a very quick watch. But I mean, the Bull in the Striped Pajamas, sometimes when I think of it, I think of quick, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just kind of like odd. It's supposed to, I can't really describe it, but I think the movie, I think if you've read the book and then seen the movie, I mean, if you've at least read the book, you might know what I mean. And I think that the movie did a very good job of portraying that. Now, I think that the actors did a really good job. Asa Butterfield did a really good job kind of portraying the really curious Tanner Bruno. And I didn't really like Shmuel in the movie, because it almost seems like Shmuel didn't like Bruno almost. I mean, there is a scene where they're laughing, playing chess, sort of. You have to see it to know how they're playing chess. They probably like, how are they playing chess when he's behind the fence? Well, you kind of have to see the movie. And they're all laughing. However, sometimes Shmuel seems kind of afraid of Bruno, and I kind of understand why the movie Shmuel is a little afraid of Bruno, because he's kind of like an outsider, and if he gets caught, he's in huge trouble. But then towards the end, after something happens between Bruno and Shmuel, and then when Bruno sees Shmuel after it, I mean, kind of how Shmuel kind of acts and feels is kind of weird, but it is kind of weird, and everybody else did a good job. I mean, the mother was a very different character in the movie than the book. I mean, the mother was kind of just there in the book, but in the movie, she's more of a character. And I liked how Gretel, the sister, was more nice to Bruno in the movie. And the dad, you know, he was the same kind of character. And Lieutenant Cutler was actually kind of scary in this movie, because I mean, he was kind of a weird character in the book, but in the movie, he's a very kind of intimidating character. And the actor who played him, it doesn't say, but I think whoever played Lieutenant Cutler did a very good job. And overall, I think that everybody in the movie did a very good job. So overall, I think The Boy in the Striped Pajamas did a really good job as being a movie to the book. So overall, I think The Boy in the Striped Pajamas story is a very good, interesting story. I think a lot of people should check it out, because it's a very kind of, you know, interesting story about World War II. It's a very kind of sad and tragic tale. It's a very kind of dark movie and book, and the ending does kind of leave you feeling depressed. I'm not going to say what happens at the end, but overall, so just definitely check out the movie and the book of The Boy in Striped Pajamas.